Good morning. This is Sunil Sunder Raj for Global Women's Sports Radio. This morning, I have the honor of welcoming in Anyssa Sanchez, the new director of basketball operations at NJIT Women's Basketball. Anyssa, thank you so much. Congratulations. Can you just right off the bat start what this means to you, your family, and if you could describe your first week there at NJIT?
Of course. Good morning, and thank you so much for having me. Really appreciate it. But this means a great deal for me. I'm a Division III kid, South Jersey, local, not too far from here. So this opportunity was, it meant so much to me and my family because they know where I come from, how hard I've worked to get to this point. And like I said, coming from the Division III level, it's not easy. So having this opportunity is something that I'm fully striving to do my best 100% to make sure that I learn as much as possible, grow as much as possible within this chance that I've been given. And this first week, although been a little bit hectic, a little bit different than what I'm used to in terms of restrictions and just the time that we're in now. But luckily, I've had a great support system with the staff behind me. Everybody's been super helpful and willing to help me learn, from the staff down to the girls themselves. So this past week, although it was a little bit crazy jumping headfirst in this past Monday, I completely enjoyed it. And I think there's no better way to start than to jump right in and get your feet wet. So this was a great overall experience to get started. It helped me feel a little bit more comfortable in this position, knowing what I'm getting into and just knowing that I have support from the staff itself, my family, the girls, friends. Everybody's been super supportive, and I'm just really blessed to be in this position.
That's great. Can you just talk about head coach Mike Lane, AD, Lenny Kaplan, the administration, but, and of course, you mentioned, the girls, team, but basketball team. But if you can mention, just start off with Coach Lane, Anyssa.
Of course, Coach Lane. Since we started speaking over the summer about the position, he's been great. Super understanding of where I'm coming from, trying to give me as much information as possible to prepare me for what I was getting into. And same thing once I arrived. He, along with the rest of the staff members, have been, like I said, supportive, but just really willing to help me learn and help me make my way around and get much comfortable as possible. But I really am thankful to have such a strong staff and such a strong head coach who's always just willing to help and check in on you and make sure everything's okay. And it's the same way from the staff down to the girls, the way that he is just making sure that everybody's in a good place. He's taking certain things into consideration, considering this is such a crazy but sensitive time. So just one of many things that I'm very thankful for, to be able to be working under Coach Lane. I know he is in one of a few first years here in NJIT, so we're in a bit of a transitioning period. So everybody's kind of getting used to things as well, from the staff down to the girls. But I fully believe he's doing a great job in making sure that we stay together as a team and a family, especially during this time.
Yeah. I had to ask you, first impressions when you saw the Wellness and Event Center, Anyssa.
I mean, from where I'm coming from, and that's probably the same exact side that I had when I first saw it. It is immaculate, and it's crazy to see, and it's just such a beautiful center, and just everything that you have access to is just, it's amazing. And we make sure that the girls know, like, hey, take advantage of everything that you have, because not everybody gets this. Like I said, coming from, I graduated from Rowan University over in 2017, and it's a beautiful school. It's a great premises, but it's still growing. This program is fully developed and just beautiful to see. And hoping things go back to normal so that I can bring family and friends up to see it, because even from them seeing pictures alone, they're like, this is amazing. This is crazy that this is just your everyday. So yeah, it's definitely a step up.
You've been there, student athlete, NJIT, the standards, both academics, and then you have the athletics, component as well. Can you just speak to that, at NJIT? I said, I know you've been there a relatively short amount of time, Anyssa, but just initial impressions, I guess, just of that, of that part, said with the student athlete role.
I would definitely say for myself, it's the perfect position. Like you said, having been a student athlete at one point in time, it's easier to relate and resonate with the girls and the staff because we've all been at that position at one point in time. So although we may be different ages or come from different backgrounds, we all have one thing in common, which is that love and passion for the game. And I think that will take you very far in this field because even if you're not familiar with certain things, that love and that passion, that drive is what's going to get you there to make sure that you're learning and growing and making sure that, perfect example, I myself am constantly putting myself in a position to be the backbone of the staff, of the girls, to make sure as long as I'm doing my job, that allows the rest of the staff to do theirs as well. This past weekend was a perfect example. We played up at UNH. And it was my first week and it was the first conference set for the team. So this was a great overall experience, not only to get my feet wet, but to be thrown into the fire and see went 1-1, which is a great start for the girls, for the program itself, but also prepping for this upcoming Friday with FDU. So I think definitely being put in a position where it was kind of sink or swim. I'm definitely happy to say that we were all swimming together, made it back, up and back safely. But I would definitely say that that love and drive that you have as an inner athlete, it never truly goes away. So even if you continue to work within this field, it's only going to help push you further and further.
Yeah, I mean, truly a historic week, for NJIT, for the women's basketball program, athletics, and then the university itself. I mean, being the first team, to earn, America East, conference win. Just how special was that to be a part of it? Just, again, with head coach Mike Lane and the players. Can you just talk about what that feeling was, on Saturday, Anyssa?
Of course, it was an amazing feeling for everyone. Like you said, it's a big deal for us to be in this conference overall. Coach Lane said that he received immense support from other programs within NJIT as well as outside of the program, the university as well, because everybody understands how big it truly was for us to take the floor on both Saturday and Sunday afternoon. And we made sure that the girls were aware of that as well, that we were all a part of something truly special. So for them to come out as hard as they did Saturday and grab that win, and even Sunday, even though we came up a little bit short, that was, like you said, a historic point that we'll be moving forward from. And I think it was a great way to start the season, a lot of learning experiences. But I know I myself personally, I felt like I couldn't stop smiling. And luckily I had the mask on, or everybody probably would have been giving me the side eye. But it's just an amazing feeling to not only be a part of a Division I program, but to be of something so historic. It's so many amazing things tied into one that it just gives you this feeling of almost that deep sigh I took when I saw the wellness center. It's just feeling as if you've made it, but still knowing that there's work to be done. So to say that I'm happy might be an understatement, and same thing goes for the girls and the staff. We are excited and we are just thrilled to be able to be where we are right now and to see where we land further down the road in the rest of the season.
That's great. I wanted to just go back to just if you could, maybe explain your day-to-day responsibilities and just, during the course of a week, leading up to, let's say, game day coming up here on Friday at FDU. Can you just, describe that part of the job, Anyssa?
Of course, which is perfect because we're currently on an off day right now, which just means we're not fully in the office trying to get some stuff done at home. The girls have off today. But typically it starts off strong with a Monday practice, which was a little bit tough this past week or this past Monday because we had just gotten back Sunday from the UNH trip about like 9:30 at night. But everybody battled through yesterday. I think yesterday was a great practice. Everybody was locked in and focused. Typically we'll have Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, early morning testing with the girls and the staff. Then we get right into practice probably about 10:30 to 12:30. From there, everybody departs. We have lifting going on. Some girls have individuals with some of the other coaches. I myself will try connecting with Coach Lane to get some things done in terms of the itinerary for the upcoming trip, as you mentioned, for FDU, as well as a monthly calendar for the girls and the staff to be able to follow along to make sure that we're all on the same page. Everybody knows what's going on moving forward. If there's any questions, we can tackle those, nail those down right away. But a typical week, aside from practices, is usually prepping for, like you said, those upcoming games, programs. FDU will be away for us. which means that we're getting things together in terms of traveling, food, making sure the girls have everything that they need for the trip in terms of snacks and gear and all of that. So in a week such as this, my daily routine is usually going to be prepping for at least 2 to 3 things for the upcoming trip this upcoming Friday. So that's going to be itinerary, food, such as I mentioned earlier, travel, things of that nature, and then also connecting with the coaches to prepare for the game plan on Friday as well, and making sure that we have FDU's game plan in ours as well.
I just see how that was, for New Hampshire for that, road trip. It's a back-to-back games, but just can you talk about that process?
Yeah, that was definitely a process and definitely experience for ourselves and the girls. We were wondering when exactly it was going to hit them that they were playing back-to-back, because it's not something you typically see even at this level, even when they were under the ASUN and were taking big trips such as this one. It's definitely different, but it's a heck of an experience. And like I said, I think they did a great job preparing for it, battling through. It's not easy from a player or a coaching standpoint because none of us are used to it. So even having conversations with Coach Lane, preparing and making sure that he's doing what he needs to do, but also a bit of uncertainty because this is the first time that we've been in this position. But as a whole, I think we did a great job of standing together and making sure, like I said before, that everybody was locked in and we all had the same goal in mind, was to go out and put up a fight, which is exactly what I think we did Saturday and Sunday. And again, this is an experience that I think is only going to help the girls progress throughout the season because we are a young team. So if they can stand through this weekend like they just did, what's to come down the road, I think they're going to take it in head first.
That's true. I wanted to pivot to, you're a graduate at Rowan University, and what intrigued me so much in this is that your health and exercise science, it said you graduated with the BA. And can you talk about how you can apply that, it said, what you learned there at Rowan to now here, of course, at NJIT, Anyssa?
Of course. Like you mentioned, I was health exercise science major, and I believe for myself as an athlete, as a former athlete as well, it was the perfect environment for myself, mainly because it teaches just everything we do on a daily basis as an athlete and making sure that you're taking care of your body, that you're recovering properly, that you understand what's going on inside your body and constantly remembering that it's telling you something. So I think at a young age, I was able to appreciate much more being a student athlete and what that meant, because although I'll always be an athlete at heart, as we get older and progress and go into our daily lives outside of that, you start to feel the repercussions of that from not paying as much attention when you were younger. So I definitely think this gives me an opportunity to be able to relay that to the young girls that we currently have now, as well as future seasons, and just stressing that importance of taking care of your bodies, taking care of your mental health. Although they are student athletes and great ones at that, at the end of the day, they are individuals that will go on to do great things in their own individual personal lives, and we want to make sure that they're doing that full-heartedly and healthy. So I think that it ties in perfectly to what I'm looking to do here at NJIT this season, as well as moving forward.
That's terrific. I said also you were an assistant coach at your alma mater there at Rowan University for 1 year under head coach Demetrius Pauls. Can you talk about, again, just that journey, being able to continue there at Rowan and, as an assistant coach there?
Of course, that was a great opportunity. It actually was something last minute. I had found out that my former head coach, Gabby Lasella, was stepping down. I was still in Puerto Rico at the time, finishing out my most previous season, and had reached out to Demetrius Pauls just to see, not necessarily if he had a spot on his staff, but just if he wanted any help, because I thought it would be a great transition for myself at that time. And he was warm welcomed, wanted me back, and that was just amazing. So as soon as I got back, I jumped right in. He had offered me an assistant coaching position with the staff, and from that point forward, we just got down to work. They were also a younger team. I hadn't known any of the girls because I had been gone for about 3-4 years. But the girls down to the staff were all amazing and super welcoming, and they were a great group. They had gone on to win their 2020 NJAC season conference championship, which was huge for that program as well. as a coach and former player, that was something that was huge for me because that was something that I never had reached. I had never gotten fully to that championship and gotten the win. So to be able to do that with that program still to this day means so much to me. And I love those girls dearly. It was very difficult to leave that program because in a year you get so comfortable and you're ready to take on the next step. But then things like this happen where you're faced with an opportunity that you just cannot turn down. And luckily they were all so equally as supportive as well, from the staff down to the girls, and pushed me towards this position and told myself that they were just proud of me and wanted me to continue to make way in this position. But it was definitely a great experience being able to be a former athlete at the university as well as come back to coach, which not too many people get the opportunity to do. So for that, I'm very thankful for having that opportunity and being able to work with the staff and the girls.
Yeah, special run. I mean, as you said, alluded to, first, NJIT, said, championship, and then advancing to the second round, the NCAA tournament. I know it's been a tough, 2020, said, with the pandemic, but for you personally, I mean, to, be a part of that and then, come over here to NJIT and, with them entering the America East, I mean, I don't think it gets any better than that. And it's for you this year. I wanted to, some of your responsibilities there I was looking at, were quite extensive, player development, film breakdown, and then implementing daily and monthly strength and conditioning and practice schedules. So that really ties into what you're doing here at NJIT, Anyssa.
Yes, perfectly. So I think that helped the transition even more and opened Coach Lane's eyes even more to being able to see this is something that she's done before. So this should be no problem for her. And I think it really helped, especially in this first week of being able to dive right in, of being able to take that deep breath and see what we have ahead of us and say, okay, it's not bad. I think the main thing was just making sure everything goes smoothly. You can plan as much as you want. Sometimes things just don't go as planned. Luckily, we did not have too much of that going on this past weekend. Everything ran pretty smoothly. But I would definitely say and send a tribute to my past experiences working with Rowan University, as well as my previous administration experience and previous jobs as well, that have fully prepared me for this role and given me the confidence to feel as though I can tackle anything that's really thrown my way.
That's great. I know you said that you didn't win a championship at Rowan, but you were unbelievable as far as, the stats you put up there at Rowan and the achievements, the accolades. Can you just speak to that? I mean, it's not easy to do it all 4 years, but you were able to do it on a consistent basis. And it said, being able to juggle, between, being a student athlete. I mean, how were you able to just, keep up that level, that high playing level, year after year? I mean, just as far as the training and we all know it's 24/7, 365, Anyssa. I don't think there's a day off. Can you just talk about that at Rowan?
Of course. I would definitely say, as we talked about earlier, that love and passion for the game, that inner athlete, that drive, I established that at a very young age. Once I developed that passion, it just never stopped and it continued to grow. And I was fortunate enough to be able to manage it and make sure that I was able to put myself in a position where I was constantly, like I said before, learning. I actually had the opportunity to be coached by Demetrius Poles my junior and senior year, I believe. He had taken assistant coaching position, and the staff at that time was fully supportive in my position as an athlete, my stance, my drive, and they used that to the fullest of both of our benefits in making sure that I had whatever I needed. So I had access to the strength and conditioning room as well as their coaches' contacts. So the same way that I told the girls to really make sure that they utilize everything that they have here, I tried my best to do that while I was at Rowan University and really make use of my time while I was there. But I think that I had a great support system at the time, from the team itself to my family. My mom drove me around to who knows where for AAU tournaments, for sessions, for anything that she could get her hands on or make sure that she could get me to. And I think that really stuck with me and made sure that I'm not going to let her down, in the sense of, if she's going to take the time and money and whatever it takes to get me to these places to make sure that I'm in a position to really thrive as an athlete, and as an individual, then I'm going to give it 100% no matter what. And sometimes you fall short, sometimes you learn from it. And I think all of that kind of telltale into where I am now and made me into who I am today.
No, that's great. Something popped into my head is about I've covered the NJIT the last couple of years. Graduated from Ramapo College, so I
nice Roadrunners.
Yes, I'm saying to myself that I was up there last year, covering the game against Rowan. It probably definitely saw you interviewed Coach Poles, and I'm like
exactly.
That about a year later I'll be interviewing you here, of course, at NJIT. So it's come full circle. But I wanted to ask you about the play of Division III basketball. I said can you just? I mean, I think it's just as competitive, and I think it's just almost on the same par, even as Division I. Even though, again, can you just describe that, Anyssa?
Of course, and I 100% agree. I believe the competition level is just as fierce and as intense as the Division I, Division II level. A lot of times we get players from the Division I and II level who just weren't able to maintain, and they just really wanted to play. Division I and II, you are a student athlete, and you are there on scholarship. Division III, any money that you may receive is more so coming from academics and not for playing. So to play at the Division III level, you really have to love it because you're there by choice. You want to be there. So I would definitely say that it's an experience that is like no other because it's just a battle. You're there with a tremendous amount of girls who have been all over from past experiences, who have now excelled onto also playing overseas and doing big things. So I would definitely say the intensity and the love for the game is so strong at the Division III level because it almost feels as though it's all that you have. Everybody wants to be there. Everybody wants to be on the floor. Everybody wants to be a part of something that is driven by that love and passion. And I think that's exactly what we had at Rowan University. My 4 years there was girls that wanted to be on the floor, girls that wanted to be a part of that transition within the program, because my freshman year, I think we won a total of 4 games, and that might be being generous, going into our senior year where we just came short of winning the NJIT championships, but were able to progress to the national championship as well, or the round 2 of the NCAAs, which was, from my standpoint and the girls that I had come up with as well, that almost feels as though it's the same as winning that NJIT championship, because we came from something that was so minimal and so just hard to really get up every day and say, like, I'm going to do this. We're going to get that 5th win or 4th win. But we were able to turn it around, and that in turn led the way for this past 2020 program, who was able to do what we never did. But to know that we were a part of that transition, a part of that program, that's always going to mean something very dearly to us.
Yeah, I think that's so important, is that team chemistry and building those bonds, through the years, where you start out as a freshman and then, as I move up the ladder, eventually, by your senior year, it just, you're gelling so well. And it just, I know that's something, again, with this team, with the NJIT, women's basketball team, as you allude to, I mean, a young team, I think, with only 1 senior. So, to see them, and now they're going to get to experience that for the next, 3 to 4 years here. You talked about playing professional basketball, it said in Puerto Rico. I mean, just that must have been a wonderful experience for you. Can you talk about that, Anyssa?
Of course. It was definitely an experience that I'll never forget. My grandparents are from Puerto Rico themselves, so I was considered a native. So in 2018, I was drafted by the Cafetaleras in Yauco, Puerto Rico, and it was just a great experience. A year out of college or so, being able to experience different types of athletes, different types of play sets, because being myself a native, I wasn't considered an import because I was considered one of them, since my family is from the island, but certain imports would come from all over, and they were part of these big Division I, II programs, Texas A&M, Duke. They came from all over, and we also had the opportunity of playing against and with some of the national players. And I believe my last season there, the national team was actually able to play in the tournament, the FIBA tournament that they had held in San Juan, Puerto Rico, where they were able to play teams from all over, but one of the teams was the USA team coached by Dawn Staley, which was amazing to be able to experience even just from the stands itself. Puerto Rico has such a deep pride from where they come from and everything that they stand for. And just to be a part of that, not only from a standpoint of being a native and that's where my family comes from, but just to be surrounded by it, knowing everything that they've gone through in the past few years with the storm and recovery and all of that, to still see them smile and cheer and just be happy to be present in that moment is something that I'll truly never forget. And I try to go back and visit as much as possible. Obviously, it's a little bit different now with the travel restrictions and just being smart, being in season and all of that. But I definitely will continue to show my support to the BSNF, who was gracious enough to draft me back-to-back years. They also sent an email right before we played UNH on Saturday afternoon, which was amazing to receive. Just sending lots of love and support to myself and the girls as well. So being able to have that connection is something that will mean a lot to me forever, just because that's not too many people get the opportunity to say that that's something that they've done. So not only being able to make it to the Division I level in my position now, but also being able to go over and play and such an amazing experience is just awesome.
Yeah, don't want to forget that you won Sixth Man of the Year. That must have meant a lot to you also.
That did. Still got to track down that trophy somewhere. I'm not sure if they're going to mail it.
I just have a couple more. I can't thank you enough for the time, Anyssa. I didn't want to forget about your high school. You know, I was seeing that you were a 4-year starter in basketball, volleyball, track and field. I mean, a 3-star athlete. I mean, you know, again, being able to accomplish, you know, those goals. I mean, what did that mean to you? You know, in high school.
I would definitely say it means a lot more to me now. When I was in that mindset of a young athlete, I just wanted to get my hand anywhere that I could. And I feel like all 3 of those sports tied in and benefited me in a lot of ways. And which is why now having that degree in health exercise science is all the more reason as to why I do stress the importance of taking care of your body, because those 3 sports alone put so much stress on your body, which I feel now, but luckily I'm able to recover properly and make sure that I'm treating my body the way that it needs. But looking back, I was a part of so many amazing programs with great organizations and teams and coaches. And I want to thank them because they put a lot of time and effort and confidence into me, telling me that I was capable of doing what I had done without even realizing it. So going into high school, initially, I just thought basketball and maybe I'll pick up like a part-time job. Little did I know that volleyball and track would be knocking on my door saying like, hey, we think you could do something really special here and we would love for you to at least give it a shot. And if you don't like it, we won't pressure you. And in that sense, they were really great at not making me feel like I had to do anything, but they welcomed me with open arms, introduced me to some new things, and that ended up into me being like a 12-letter award winner, which was awesome. And that's all because they trusted me and they gave me that confidence as a young 14, 15-year-old freshman that really didn't know what to do outside of basketball, but they instilled a lot of confidence in me to this day that I still am very thankful for.
That's outstanding. You know, I wanted to, and, you know, I think it's an important topic initially is, women's college basketball, women in sports, and then also diversity as well. I mean, I think they go hand in hand. Can you just talk about how critical that is? And I think, you being in this position now definitely, is setting, a bar, setting your example. Can you just, speak about that?
Of course. I think me being in this position alone is very eye-opening for so many reasons. Being a female that comes from the Division III level, being a minority, I think it's very important for other females, whether it's young, to see more females in positions of not only power, but just positions that you see on a daily basis. So growing up, it is difficult to see yourself in a position where you don't see yourself typically there, whether it be a male-driven profession or whatever the case is. It kind of hinders you to thinking outside or expanding what you could possibly be interested in as a young adult, because it doesn't seem realistic. So with me being in this position, especially coming from Rowan University and having that program under my belt, them alone, that program, I know that those girls are all looking at me to see what I do now, along with all the players and parents and professionals that I've worked up to this point. I feel that on my shoulders, not so much as in a weight, but I feel it is in, that's what's helped me get to this point. And in my mindset, there's no way that I would be able to let them down. I've gotten this far. I'm going to continue to push. And to any young female athletes, young professionals, whatever that may be, one message that I give to them is to just don't stop. Once you stop, you've made the choice that that's it, that there's no moving forward, that you're not going to continue to strive for what it is you once wanted. But as long as you continue to pursue and try and put your name and your face out there, continue to learn as much as possible, so that when the day comes when you are faced with an opportunity, you feel that confidence and that readiness to be able to jump right on it and say that I've got this. So I think confidence is huge, and knowing that at this point, and even as crazy as things might be right now, anything is possible, especially if that's instilled within you that you want something and you're going to go get it. By all means, don't let anyone or anything stop you from doing so.
That's terrific. Okay, Anyssa, the floor is yours. Have I left anything out there? I definitely want to give you this opportunity.
I don't believe so, because once you brought up high school, I was like, I forgot that I even went to high school. So I think you did a great job of covering all bases, and I'm honestly just super thankful to be here with you this morning, as well as be in the position that I am overall with NJIT. And I'm just super excited to see how things unfold. Like I said, I think we had a great start to conference play, the season itself. I'm super excited to see where we land in the next few games, especially transitioning into this new year with 2021. But I'm just full throttle, super happy to be here. And I just hope that I can continue to get to know more people like yourself, along with the rest of the staff, because I'm starting to learn there are so many departments and so many of you guys that I don't want to not connect with. But yeah, just super happy and excited to be in this position and ready to see what's next for NJIT women's basketball.
Sounds good. Anyssa, thank you so much again. Wishing you continued success there as Director of Basketball Operations for NJIT women's basketball, and looking forward to staying in touch.
Of course. Thank you so much, Sunil. This was an absolute pleasure. I hope that we can do it again sometime soon.
Thank you.